I want my staff to be able to get things done quickly and efficiently and handle with white glove treatment our clients. And that's what these processes have helped us do.
Because training becomes a little bit easier for new people when you can kind of laser focus them versus, hey, I'm an agent, I do all of this. Well, hello, everybody. I am so happy to be here with my good friend, Carl Salinas of Salinas Insurance in Elkhart, Indiana, right outside of South Bend. And we're going to talk a little bit today on, how agencies can really transform to getting the owner to work on the business, not always in it. Some things that he's doing from a tech stack perspective that I think are really cool. And just kind of focusing in on, the kind of working through the hard market, working through all the challenges, but figuring out how to grow. So, Carl, would you like to introduce yourself to all of our listeners?
Yes, good morning, Carl Salinas. Like Kelly said, with Salinas Insurance out of Elkhart, Indiana. Been running an agency for about 23 years now.
And the family, your whole family, well, your dad was insurance, so you got indoctrinated in through dad, right?
Yes, I did.
And now in Elkhart. So tell us a little bit about, how many team members you are, personal, commercial, just a little overview of the agency, if you don't mind.
We're about a little smaller agency. I've got two commercial producers. I'm one of them, and we got another location out in South Bend, Indiana, where there's a commercial producer out there. Three CSRs, office manager, and I call him my profitability manager, Rob Stevenson. So we got six in total for staffing.
Yeah, Rob is super fun. So Rob was a district, or what was his title over at Erie?
District sales manager.
Yeah, and then he retired, and Carl was like, "Hey, any chance you want to help us out here?" And he's a great guy, great fit for the agency. And maybe it's a good thing to start. Like, what are some things that he works on? Because it's kind of a unique role in all reality.
I was struggling, kind of came to the realization that I really wasn't running my agency anymore. It seemed like clients were running me and things like that. And Rob is so good with numbers, and we were struggling on a profitability issue. And so I went to him because, every day we should be looking at our reports and seeing what's going on, and from losses to cancellations to retention, and I just wasn't doing that. I would glance occasionally. So I approached Rob to see if he could just completely focus on the profitability side of things. So he does re-underwriting for us. He actually reaches out to our underwriters and goes over accounts. I get a fresh report every Monday morning, so we can look at retention, look at losses, look at claims that have come through. What do we need to address? Do we need to go back to a producer and like, hey, why did you write this person? What's going on? Or what are some of these underwriting things that you may have missed? So his focus is completely on profitability.
And he does such a good job with that too, and just ensuring everything's working the way it should. And the whole team loves him, so that's an important part too. He doesn't come down on them like, "Why did you write this?"
No, not at all. He breaks it all down.
Yes, yes. He also has an elegant travel schedule, so I think I want to be him when I grow up.
Yes, it is kind of nice.
Yeah. So I know, a lot that we've been talking about with our listeners too is the role of the owner of an agency is really unique because, you start an agency and all the clients know you, right? So they have your cell phone number and you develop these great relationships with them. And then you kind of grow and it becomes like you're sort of drowning, right? Because everybody's used to going to you and the service team wants to help. So it's like kind of like a little bit of organized chaos. And then you really get to a size where you're like, whoa, in order to like, we're plateauing with growth. The owners are really bogged down, really stressed, really overwhelmed. And the team's kind of the same way, but only more because everything's just kind of coming at everybody all at once. And so I like to tell people there's only one person that can work on the business, and it's the owner. The other people, that's not their role, that's not their purview, that's not their experience. And so maybe you can share a little bit about, like you touched upon it, like the agencies running you. What were some of the things that you're like, wow, like, hey, how did you feel in that moment, right? Like what were the symptoms? So if somebody else that was just listening, like, I had these things going on, they might have this light bulb moment of, whoa, I resonate with Carl. I might need to make some changes.
It's like you described it, you felt like you were drowning or suffocating. It's great because we wanna be everybody's friend, our clients, we
Yeah.
want them to have access to us, and then you got to the point to there it was almost too much access. Your cell phone's ringing off the hook, and I might be on the road, and, "Hey, I need this change done," or a COI, "Oh, yes, I'll get to it," and something else would pop up and I'd forget. Then you got a disgruntled client. And then, you hire in staff and they kind of see how you're handling everything and you're micromanaging everything and hand holding. So they kind of start in that path as well. And then they start getting where they feel like they're drowning because they just can't keep up. And then meanwhile, you're trying to grow a business but you seems like you've created not the ideal client with all the hand holding to where they can't really help themselves that much, whether
Mhm.
making cash payments or calling in to make a payment. It takes time. And then meanwhile, hey, I need these quotes done. I need to go out and look at this account. And you don't have time to do that. And you start getting stagnated. Your growth kind of ceases. You're just kind of maintaining status quo.
And it's not fun anymore.
No, it's not fun. It was kind of miserable.
I think, it's so hard with Carl with what you're saying is because it's like what made you successful to start with started hampering your success. So like the recipe that of starting the agency, selling policies, being there for all your clients and started becoming almost like a detriment because you can't replicate that for a long time. Is that fair?
Fair. There
Yeah.
ain't so much of you to go around.
Yeah. So then all of a sudden it's like a, frog in boiling water. It gets hotter and hotter and hotter. And then one day you're like, whoa, like I don't know. There doesn't seem to be a way out of this. And if I keep doing the same thing, that's the definition of insanity. But I also want to tell people if they're listening, it's also kind of like the only way to grow an agency, right? Like
Yes.
if you're scratch and you're startup and you don't have all the budget, you don't have all the people, you just have to kind of do it this way. You do everything. So what Carl's explaining is like that's the only way. And then you have to get to a milestone almost where you say, okay, now I need to just remodel a little bit to get things more tenable. Otherwise, and I think this might be Carl too, where a lot of people sell their agency, right? Like
Yes.
I'd rather I need to get out because I can't, this is impacting my home life, right? Or this is impacting other things.
It's no
Uh
longer fun.
yeah, it's no longer fun. So then we kind of hung out, worked together, and said, "All right, well, we have to get you into a much better position." And I think the delicate part is out. Everyone's always like, "Well, I can't put more on my team. I can't put more on my team, right? Because they're also experiencing burnout. Like we're all in this together." But maybe you can share a little bit about how maybe organizing things and getting processes, getting procedures actually helped clarify a lot of it.
Yes, so we had an agency management system, and that's pretty big time for us, or for me anyway. I'm not a big tech person, but realized what you had to do to, I mean, like for note taking and getting changes done and things like that. But we never really had a process on from A to Z on finishing things the same way or doing things the same way. So that kind of added the stress to the agency. I do it one way and then my office manager would do it another. And it was kind of neat because I'm going to take a couple steps backwards here. Was with some agents and had the privilege of hearing Kelly with Agency Performance Partners speak. And some of the agencies that I really look up to and that I would like to mimic someday had all used her in the past. And I kind of see where they had a little bit of I want to say an easier lifestyle. Not that they're making money hands over fit. I mean, but time is important to all of us. I have a growing family. I've got 3 grandkids, 4 kids. I mean, I kind of got to the point I was missing my wife. And
Yeah.
then, hearing how these agents were using Kelly and the processes that she helps you kind of instill, it has done wonders for our staff. I mean, we're still growing, we're still learning, we're in the early processes of this all. But I had one staff member who early on when we were going through this, she was like, I don't like this at all. She didn't want anything to do with it. And you kind of have to come to that decision as like, well, are we going to keep her or not? And we worked through some things on it, and she is Kelly's biggest advocate right now. Oh, I love the processes. I love this because for us, we wanted more time. I want my staff to be able to get things done quickly and efficiently and handle with white glove treatment our clients. And that's what these processes have helped us do. It's been pretty neat to see the evolution so far. I'm excited because, like I said, we're just scratching the surface. But it's been kind of neat because I'm starting to see more smiles and not so much frustration on my employees' faces.
Well, and I think when we come into agencies and it's like you find, and I'll just use like an example where without clarity, people don't know how many times should I follow up with this person to get payment, right? Like,
Right.
is it okay to say no to this customer that comes in for insurance and cancels 4 times a year? So for a lot of people, it's just letting them know like it's okay to say no to things, to say no to clients. And they just needed that permission, if that makes sense, to be like,
Yeah.
hey, Carl says it's okay. You don't have to, we don't have to keep the office open late so somebody can pay their bill. Like they need to be a human and do this the right way. Right. And you find sometimes you sort of start catering to the clients you don't really want because they're the ones that are in front of you all the time.
Yeah, they take up 60, your C, D, and clients below, they take up more than 65% of your time, and you want to mimic all your A's and B's. And there's ways to helping curtail that, and there's processes involved that help with that. But yeah, we had to set an agency standard per se. This is what we want, and it's been pretty neat to see that evolution. I mean, even from simply as taking payments. Yeah, I mean, that was like a big, big, big deal. And I learned that from my dad. It was cash payments. It would be nothing to take several $1,000s every day to the bank, but you'd have a line of people, and then it's not just 2 minutes transaction. It's 5, 10, 15. Let's talking about the kids or sports or
You gotta
whatever the
make
weather.
change, and do we have enough
Yes.
change? And all those things get really complicated, and I think for a lot of agencies out there who are in your situation, like learned from your dad, started your own agency, I think the other half is we don't recognize that we're running an agency in 2025. And if, in 2025, there are lots of businesses out there that don't take cash now. Now, if you're in some states that do require you to take cash, you can ignore this because I know I always get some comments like, but in our state, we have to. It's illegal for us not to. I'm like, that's okay. You can still encourage a lot of people to pay alternatively and accept cash if you do have to. But it's like kind of just taking that critical look of where does an owner spend their time, right? And that's a good topic of, if you're taking that phone call and taking the payment, right? Because you're so like I pick up the phone, right? The phone rings, I pick it up. Or you know that your staff has somebody out there at their desk and you're trying to help out and be a good person. But from your purview with an agency of your size, where do you think owners should be spending their time, right? Because you also can't not be an agent, right? You have to still, like you said, you're doing commercial sales, you do a lot of the life insurance things, but in your perfect world, like, in a couple months when a new hire gets trained and everything, where do you envision spending your time?
Probably 50% running the agency and the other 50% producing. One of the greatest things that we learned was we all needed job descriptions, myself included. It's like the other day, staff member was at lunch and I saw the same call come in like 2 or 3 times. It was driving me nuts. So I answered it. Well, that went from should have been a 5 minute call to 35 minutes. I grew frustrated with that, but that's what we would do. We would all, okay, we all pitch in. Let's answer the phones. Let's take care of this person. So, but what's nice now is with job descriptions that we've gotten, we all know where our separate things are supposed to be. That doesn't mean that we don't help and still pitch in. It's that here's where our focus is at. And I can't focus on growth of the agency and everybody else if I'm taking care of the auto changes, the COIs, hey, this person needs a quote on a renter's policy right now while I'm working on a commercial account. So yeah, job descriptions has been great for us. I'm really excited to see it, and we had a little talk the other day about, hey, we really need to get back acclimated into this again and our processes again. We were short one person that we could not believe how much that made an impact on how we facilitate and get things done around here. So yeah, the job description is what's been the biggest thing for me, especially for the staff because they kind of see a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
Okay, here's what my focus is.
Well, and I think too, then you get a new person in, you can say, okay, you're going to start here and take these jobs. Because training becomes a little bit easier for new people when you can kind of laser focus them versus, hey, I'm an agent. I do all of this. Are
Right.
you ready? I think that gets a little overwhelming.
Well, yeah, and as we grow, I mean, so then my model's probably going to change. My job description's going to probably change. Now it's probably like 75%. I'm running the agency, and then the other 25, we get another producer, or several producers, and then I mean, eventually I could get it to the point where that's all I'm doing is just running the business, not it running me, or I having to contribute with that, but just oversee everything. So,
Yeah. And then, and you have the right puzzle pieces in place to grow people and get there. And if you don't, I think one of the things we also did that freed up a little bit of your time was being an Erie agent, you need to go inspect properties. And so we always like to say if you can get somebody that is looking for a part-time job, right? Maybe a retired person, just have them go out and take the pictures and inspect the properties. People can
mhm.
be trained on that. But I know when we talked, it was like, okay, so say the property is 5 miles away. Okay, that's still like a 20-minute drive through traffic and through the streets. And then you're taking the pictures and then you're coming back and you have to upload them. But in that time, your email came in and phone calls came in and people needed things. And so, really, probably what should be simple and easy is like an hour out of an owner's day. But if you're writing enough new business and you have to do that 5, 6, 7 times a week, now all of a sudden that's a whole day of your day just going and inspecting properties. And maybe you can share just a little bit about how you guys found a creative solution to that, because I think other people would love to hear that.
Yeah, so that was a great idea that Kelly suggested to us. Hey, why don't we hire our own inspector? And as luck would have it, bumped into a gentleman at church. And I was looking for a retiree, and this guy is not retired at all whatsoever. Kind of neat. He's in sales. He sells glass, and he's out and about quite a bit. And he's already broken through that barrier of, hey, here's my card, everything else like that. So, actually, I'm gonna be honest. We kind of prayed about it, and here's who Randy shows up, and which was kind of neat. He just approached me one day at church, and I'm like, this is awesome. So yeah, he loves going out. Rob, he looked at some retirees, and actually we've got two or three more guys that are interested in doing something like this. I mean, in between golf courses and so on and so they have no problem going out. So
Give them something
um,
to do, right?
yeah,
Like a little pocket money, and
yeah.
like you said, it's not hard to teach somebody how to take the pictures, and then you can look at them and make sure that things are well from an underwriting perspective, but they get good at knowing what to look for at the end of the day.
Yeah, my training was pick it apart. I'll get 20 to 30 pictures on a property when I only really need 2. I mean,
Yeah.
I always did 4, but a little bit of chip in the siding, and like that's great. And I don't complain. I don't curtail it. This is what we want.
Yeah.
More is better in this case. But yeah, it was kind of neat with Andy. I mean, we just kind of looked at somebody. We were trying to look for somebody who might be in a position where they could use a little like up some part time,
Yeah.
spending cash and things like that. And that's just kind of when I approached him, he's like, I was thinking the exact same thing. Is that something I could help you with? And so it worked out perfectly for us.
I like to think, with owners, it's, are you doing things below your pay grade that are taking you away? Where if you had that hour, what could you be doing that would help, 10x the agency basically? So that's commercial prospecting time, or that's training the new hire time to get more off your plate. That's, helping close a commercial deal with your commercial producer. Those are things that only you can do, or the pictures are something that anybody could do. And it might help out somebody in your church community that needs some extra money too. So it's like it's the double win.
Yeah, it was nice. And the thing is, the hard part for me on that is if this is my agency, I have to take ownership in it. So if anything goes wrong, it's still my name on, like, Carl, what are
Mhm.
you guys doing? So that was kind of a little bit hard at first to kind of, okay, let somebody else do that because in essence, I'm responsible, but you
Yeah.
have to trust. And like I said, the thing is, our training was pick it apart. Here's what we want. So
Well, and here's the good news. If you don't like it and you still have a weird pit in the feeling of your stomach, you could still go out, right? Like
yeah, not anymore. It's been kind of nice not doing it.
he's like, no, 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 I'm okay. It's cold in Indiana in the winter. We don't need to be going,
Yeah,
halfway across.
they asked me that the other day, like, "He can't make it right now, can you go?" And I'm like, "Really?" So, I mean, I grudgingly did, but it's been kind of nice having that little extra time to do other things.
Yeah, or I'll say this, as we wrap up too, a lot of agencies, the staff will go, but they'll want to go at like 3 o'clock on Friday.
Hmm.
And you've got all these people coming in trying to pay their premium or do last minute changes. And it's like somebody's out. And when you're an agency with, a handful of people, when someone's out taking pictures, you also feel that, right? Like you feel the loss of having a body there to help out. So I can't tell you how many agencies will be like, it's funny how everybody wants to take a picture at 3 o'clock on Friday. I'm like, is it really that funny though? Is it really that funny?
Yeah, how ironic. Yeah, well, actually, we set up a little. You don't do anything on Friday after 12 o'clock.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
here because we are busy on Fridays.
Absolutely. I think you can get through it. Well, Carl, I think you've given people a lot of great things to think about. So I appreciate your time today. And I think for agency owners in your position, it can get really lonely. I would like to say, like, it feels a little suffocating. Like, wow, you can't really call your agency owner friend down the road and talk to them because they're also your competition. So it can be a little isolated. So I think, I'm so glad that you were able to share that so other people cannot feel maybe so like overwhelmed or impacted, like, am I the crazy one?
Yeah, exactly. I was very jealous of a lot of agencies because like, wow, they've got all this time, we see a light at the end of the tunnel. So thank you, Kelly.
Oh, well, I appreciate that, but really you guys do the hard work. I just say put the pieces here. All right. Well, Carl, have a great weekend and thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Kelly.